And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this segment, we are going to talk about Shaquille O'Neal getting his jersey retired for the Orlando Magic. Now, he previously had his jersey retired for the Lakers, obviously for being one of the only teams that was able to three-peat, as well as having his jersey retired for the Miami Heat, as he won a championship with them, with Dwayne Wade winning Finals MVP in around 2007. So, with that in mind, Shaq finally he didn't necessarily do as much for the Orlando Magic as he did for the Lakers or for the Miami Heat. But even with that in mind, I still believe that Shaq definitely deserved this jersey retirement a lot sooner rather than he did as of right now. I'm very surprised that his jersey wasn't retired sooner, given how at the time the Orlando Magic with Shaq, they were competing for championships, and that was the closest that the Orlando Magic has gotten to winning a championship and making it to the finals. Now, I mean, I'm not going to disrespect Dwight Howard and not say that he definitely did the same thing. He should also have his jersey retired, but Shaq has also done it multiple times, and being known as the most dominant center in NBA history, I feel like that sort of demands respect, and it demands that your jersey gets retired because his career started with the Orlando Magic. And he's one of the only players that can say that he beat Jordan in a 7-game series. I mentioned this in my first segment, and I'll mention it again. In 1995, the Orlando Magic matched up against the Chicago Bulls in the playoffs, and the Magic ended up winning in 6 games. And the argument is that Jordan wasn't at 100%, but yes, he was at 100%. He was averaging 31 points per game. So he beat Michael Jordan at 100%. And on top of that, he's also one of the only players that can brag about three-peating. And not many players can, a lot of players can brag about winning a championship, but three-peating, that's a dynasty. And Shaq was the Finals MVP 3 times in a row in that dynasty. And he's one of the very few people that can say that he beat Jordan and played with Kobe Bryant as well. He's actually one of the few players that could say he carried Kobe. The only player that could say he carried Kobe to a championship. In 2000, Shaq was averaging 30 points per game in the finals. And obviously he was averaging 11, 12 rebounds in the finals as well, but those are ridiculous stats that he was averaging. And obviously he didn't do that for the Magic, but he was still putting up ridiculous numbers as a center and was still regarded as one of the best centers in the league for the Orlando Magic. And Shaq is one of the most iconic basketball players, mainly because of all of the side quests that he likes doing throughout his career. Like, he's a DJ. A lot of people know him as a DJ. He's also a very popular analyst on NBA TNT. He and Chuck like to go at it against each other. Every single time that Chuck has to say something in an argument, Shaq always says, "I got 4 rings." So he always gets brought up with the 4. He's the catalyst for the ring debate, and it's he's very popular. And he also has his own show segment as well called Shaq and a Fool, where he gets call-outs. Actually, no, not call-outs. Pardon me. Excuse me. He takes highlights from a lot of games. Well, I guess technically they're lowlights of some of these games, and none of these players are safe. And a lot of these players get introduced in these lowlights. It's a little fun show segment on the side that NBA TNT does. Nobody's safe. Russell Westbrook isn't safe. Harden isn't safe. LeBron's not safe. Not even Kobe is safe from Shaq and a Fool. But obviously, Shaq, he's very iconic. And with all of this fame that's surrounding his name, I'm very surprised that his jersey wasn't retired sooner. But I guess maybe the Orlando Magic wanted to wait until they were good, because there was a huge stretch where the Orlando Magic weren't a good team since Shaq had left. But regardless, I mean, if they were waiting for a good team, why not retire his jersey when Dwight Howard was on the Magic? Dwight Howard beat LeBron James to make it to the finals, and he was one of the only centers that could say that he led the team to the finals, as well, the other center being Shaq. So, and with that in mind, obviously the Orlando Magic, they played a game recently. They played the Oklahoma City Thunder. So obviously OKC was looking to spoil Shaq's jersey retirement, and they did. And the Thunder ended up winning, 127 to 113. And obviously it was a really bad loss for the Magic, given how they were retiring Shaq's jersey number. And it's not something that you don't want to start out the day great with a celebration and then end it with a loss. You really don't want that whatsoever. And Paolo Banchero did all he could in this game, 23, 10, and 6. So he's a great passer. That's one thing that I don't really talk about Paolo Banchero that much, because I personally don't think he deserves to be an all-star this year, but he's a pretty good passer. So, and a great all-around player on the offensive side. Wendell Carter Jr. ended the game with 22 points. Jalen Suggs ended the game with 17 points. He's also been a much better scoring option for the Magic. But those are the only bright spots for the Magic in this game. It was all OKC. Jalen Williams ended the game with 33 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander obviously ended the game with 32 points. Finally, he's back to scoring 32. Chet Holmgren ended the game with 13 points. Only 13 points, but he shot 4 of 8. See, he doesn't get that many shot attempts. I mentioned this previously in the previous segment. He doesn't get that many shot attempts. Lou Dort ended the game with 8 points, but obviously he's a defender. And it was all Magic this entire game. And everybody shot relatively efficient. Same with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 1 for 1 from 3. He's not a really good three-point shooter. He doesn't really shoot that many threes. So we'll see how that play style goes into effect in the postseason. But it was a relatively close game throughout, and OKC was slowly able to claw its way out in the end and end up winning. But regardless, yes, this game it wasn't really that close in the end, and OKC, they definitely deserved to win this game with how they played, and it was a very important game for OKC. And it really stinks if you are the Orlando Magic, because you were looking to end this game in a win to honor Shaq and his legacy with the Orlando Magic. Obviously, unfortunately, that didn't happen. And where do the Orlando Magic go from here? Let me just look at the standings. Right now, the Orlando Magic are 8th in the Eastern Conference, and they look to be in a play-in spot. I think they end up winning the play-in, and they hold an 8th seed for the playoffs. I think they're a lot better than a lot of the teams that are below them, the Bulls, the Hawks, even the Nets. If the Nets end up making the play-in, we'll see in the future. But I definitely think that they're better. That the Magic are better than those teams, and the team above him, the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are obviously a lot better than those teams, and they'll probably take that playoff spot. But again, we'll see as the season progresses. But with that, we are out of time for the that is the end of the 4th segment, and we are out of time. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. And we also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And obviously, as I said before previously in other segments of the show, please remember to tip and to donate to get your comments recognized. The link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Helps the show, makes the show much more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. The link is displayed in the ticker as well as in the description. I am your host, Nelson. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day. And as always, take care.